What's up, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, dudes and dudettes? Welcome back to another episode of your potentially favorite Nigerian podcast. Bear with me, your host, General Prime. I hope everybody's chilling, getting ready for the inauguration that will be taking place tomorrow, as well as every other crazy stuff that is going on in this world right now, man. So much happens. Like I always say, I always talk about how there's no fiction that can be compared to how crazy the story of reality is. You know how, let me first of all, there are certain things I want to talk about today. There are actually three things I want to talk about. So let me just list them out first of all to get my brain ready and mentally stable for them. First thing I want to talk about is in no particular order. I want to talk about Drake. I want to talk about the ban on TikTok, and I want to talk about also the more lessons that we can learn from the fires, the chaos that is going on in California right now, and a little bit of Nigeria. I know I've said before that I'm not going to talk about Nigeria because of how tiring Nigeria is, but I'm just going to say a little bit about Nigeria, but that'll be later. So in no particular order, let's start with Drake. Drake is there's this saying now that is kind of going viral, that is trending. If your favorite rapper is Drake, it says a lot about you than actually about him, because we already know it has already been established. It's already an established fact that Drake is a loser. In this world is funny because, okay, let me start by saying something. Let me make one point first of all. As in, there are people that will never try because they've never known what it feels like to win. You understand? There are people that will never try to, make something out of themselves, make their lives better, because they've never felt what it feels like. They've never known what it feels like to be encouraged. They've never known what it feels like to win. They've never known what it feels like to be successful. They've never gotten accolades. They've never been applauded. They've never been celebrated. So they just have this perpetual mentality that it's best for them to remain at the bottom of the barrel. It's best for them to remain at the bottom of the pyramid, and because they know that even if there's no point trying, because they know that nothing is going to come out of it. And that's a sad reality to live in, because a lot more people need to be encouraged. A lot more people need to be, there are people that there are people that are going through hell in this life there are people that are going through so much in this life that it takes nothing out of your day. You understand? It takes nothing out of your time to just be kind to people. That's why I'm an asshole. That we've already established that I'm an asshole. I don't even want to be a nice person. I don't want to be a nice person. But one thing I try my best to be every day is to be kind to everybody, is to try to see things from a different perspective, to try to be understanding with people, to try to be accommodating as best as I can, in a kind way, not in a nice way. Not in a nice way. Being nice is superficial. Being nice is kind of fake to me. Anybody can try, as in a bad person can fake, as in niceness is what, I don't know how else. I'm trying to look for a good way to explain it. Kindness is what niceness tries its best to be. You understand? Kindness is genuine, but niceness is kind of surface level. So there are people that have never known what it feels like to be good at something, to win at something, to not only be heard, but to be listened to be understood, and to be obeyed, actually. And so they never try, they never give it a shot, they never give themselves that chance to, put effort into things. And the reason why I'm saying that is because, I'm using myself as an example, because, for a very long time, I've always felt like an outsider. I've always felt like, I've always felt like it's just me against the world, because like I don't know if I'm kind of being emo right now, but nobody listens, not because the things I'm saying don't make sense, or not because I don't have opinions, or I don't have sense, or I don't like, I don't have something to give, or I don't have something to show, but when you're the kind of person where, first of all, I'm an introvert and I don't like have friends, or like kind of status in society, and I'm usually I prefer actually being alone, I prefer being by myself, I prefer my solitude. You understand? Like it's I don't complain about it at all. In fact, I'm always looking forward to it. I'm always looking forward to like just being by myself and being alone. But I'm not going to deny the fact that it doesn't come with consequences. It doesn't come with downsides, and there are no disadvantages to it. So people won't want to like give you reverence. People won't want to like give you. It's not like I'm looking for attention or anything, but it's just that it just doesn't come. Do you understand? And so it gets to a point where you start to feel like there's no point in trying. There's no point in trying to please people. Please, I don't know if pleasing is the right word to use, but there's no point in trying in like, there's no point. Basically, it gets to an extent where there's just no point in trying. Do you understand? And so, but then, recently, like, I've always had this problem with my podcast where I'm quite literally, the reason why I'm very comfortable with the things I say is because nobody else listens to this podcast. I am literally the only person that listens to my podcast. And that's why it's like, I just feel like I'm talking to myself. You understand? I just feel like I'm, this is the past me saying things to the future me, because I'm the only person that listens to it, right? So I decided that, to continue my point, first of all, because I'm like, the same problem I have with me just being the only person that listens to my podcast, right, is also the same thing I have with like being on Twitter and stuff like that. Like I've been on Twitter since forever, and like I have no followers, literally no followers. Do you understand? It's like I'm always yelling into the ether. It's like I'm always yelling into the void and nobody listens. But then I was like, okay, let me just try paying for premium, right? Just paying for premium to see what it feels like. And then I did, and all of a sudden I start getting all this, like any little comment I make, regardless of how passive, or regardless of how, I don't know, just it just starts, I start getting flooded with notifications, and people are liking, and people are commenting, and people are reacting to it. And it's weird to me because, first of all, I've never had this kind of I've never felt like this. I've never had this kind of attention in my life. It's like, it's really weird. As in, when you've lived your whole life, when you've lived your entire life, like so far, without getting any attention, it feels odd. It feels weird when you suddenly start having this, like when you start getting flooded with attention and all of this jazz and this social media stuff, and then you start to understand why people eventually start getting so full of themselves and start being so narcissistic and start feeling like, oh, they are the shits, or start feeling like they are God, or start feeling like they are too much or something like that. You start to understand it. But thankfully, I am so in tune with myself, and so aligned with myself, and so assured of my own self that I don't allow any of it to faze me. You understand? Like, I've been getting followers on Twitter. It's weird, man. It's weird. It's really odd. Like, any little comment I make, people just flock to it and give their own opinions about it, and like and comment and follow me. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, this is odd. I don't like it, first of all. I don't know how this is going to go, but maybe I'm probably not going to like renew the premium membership if it expires. I don't know. I might be capping right now, but I don't know, sure. But the point I'm trying to make is like, it's weird, it's odd that I'm feeling this way right now. I'm feeling like, oh, so as in, I'm kind of, for the first time in my life, feeling, getting the feeling of what it feels like to be listened to. And people are actually like, as in people actually from there, because first of all, my podcast link is on my Twitter profile. And so from there, people are kind of like seeing the podcast there and actually coming and clicking on it. And like, I don't know if they're listening anyways, but they are clicking on it, and it's odd. So, so I'm just trying to say that I'm just trying to call out how odd it is, because a lot more, I'm not talking about myself anymore now, but I just want to say that a lot more people need to be encouraged, because, encouragement, like giving people attention, giving people an audience, it does something. They might not admit it. I'm not even admitting it myself, but they might not immediately admit it, but it does something for them. Do you understand? It makes them feel like, oh, it makes them feel appreciated, basically. So if you know anybody today that's, is always by themselves, like they're not always, nobody looks at them, they feel always out of place, they feel alien. I mean, just say, I don't know if I'm sounding weird, but to the original point I'm trying to make, it ties back to Drake as this this loser, man. Like, yes, okay, I've made that point, right? But then there are also people that all their life, they don't know what it feels like to not be heard. They don't know what it feels like to not be taken seriously. They don't know what it's, maybe because they are born with like silver spoons, or maybe they are handsome, or they are beautiful, or there's something that society, as in there's something that they have that society cannot do without, maybe their talent or something like that. And so they lose sense of themselves. They don't know who they are. Do you understand? They become like a mirror of themselves. They become a shadow of themselves, of their true selves. You understand? If in fact the attention that they get becomes like an addiction to them, becomes something that they cannot live without, that if they don't get it, it's like something is missing from their lives. So that's where Drake comes in. Drake is this person that all his life he has been winning. I'm not going to say, I don't know if it's all his life, but for as long as we have known Drake as this as a celebrity, for as long as we have known him as a public figure, he has always been this person that has been has always been winning, has always been like in the public eye, has always been getting all the attention, has always been getting all the accolades and stuff like that. But the downsides to that has always been that he gradually loses himself. He becomes a shadow of himself. He becomes this pariah. He becomes this weird person, this mask that he wears all the time, and he has a lot of masks. We know that from the accent that he makes. We know that from the different things that he tries, and to his credit, it pays, because normally humans are very gullible, and humans are easily manipulated. They are malleable. Do you understand? And so as in humans are always drawn to the things that are shiny. So Drake is this like shiny figure, and everybody gravitates towards what is always shiny. Do you understand? That people naturally gravitate towards towards whatever it is that is glittering. That's why we have the saying that there is always a light at the end of the tunnel. The tunnel being this dark place, and then the light being what people are drawn to. Do you understand? So because of this whole, because of the level of attention that he has been getting over the years, he is no longer a genuine human being. And for me, I caught on a long time ago. I always talk about anytime I smoke and I'm high, and maybe I'm watching a movie or I'm listening to somebody, I don't see, or let's say I'm watching a movie, right? I don't see the actor. You understand? I don't see the character in the movie. I see the actor, actually. Like, for example, if I'm watching a movie and I'm high, and maybe somebody is doing something weird on screen, or somebody's like doing a sex scene on screen, and I'm high, I don't see like I don't see the character in the movie. I see the actor, and I always ask myself, like, why is this human being choosing to like play this character? Like, why is this person choosing to do this? And why is this person choosing to let their guards this down and this low to do this? And like, what is going on in their mind? What is going on in their head for them to be able to want to like be this character? Do you understand? And so thankfully I caught on a long time ago. There was this show one time, this prank show, I cannot even remember the name at this point, where Drake was in. And so in the prank, it was in a parking lot, and the prank was that there was like shooting going on, and something, I don't know if it's actually a shooting, I cannot remember the exact details, but something was going on, and so people were running, and Drake was there, and so that he hid in his car, right? I don't know if anybody can remember this, man. He hid in his car, and then there were some people that were like trying to like beg him to, let them into the car so that they can hide with him. And Drake was like, no, don't come into don't get into the car with me. And when I saw that scene, man, I was like, so I just summed up who Drake was as a human being. That summed it up for me, like who Drake was as a human being. And since then, I never took him seriously. Like he's never going to be out of your psyche. He's never going to be out of the narrative. He's never going to be out of your worldview because of how influential and because of the level of attention he gets and because of the kind of celebrity that he is, right? He's never going to be out of that ever. So he's always, in my view, peripherally. He's always there somewhere. But I just never found him interesting as a human being. Ever since I watched that stuff, I never found him interesting. I never found him to be somebody that I would ever relate to. You understand? So now, fast forward to last year when the whole beef with him and Kendrick Lamar happened, and then he lost woefully. And instead of him to take it on the chin like a man, instead of him to just like let everything go, he decided that he's going to sue the company for losing. And when he was beginning to feel like, he's going to lose the lawsuit, he then decided that, he's going to like go after the reaction channels that reacted to the songs, to the beef and all of that stuff. And all the YouTube reaction channels that he was going after, surprise, all of them are black. It just further shows the point. It just further buttresses the point that Drake is not like us. Even right now, as in, if Drake is your like your favorite artist, that means that you're the same, like maybe you're on the same level, because nobody in their right mind now would want to nobody in their right minds right now would want to affiliate themselves with Drake. Nobody would want to associate themselves with him. I feel like he has destroyed his own career by himself. Like, who would want to be, who now want to like make music with Drake? Except you're down bad, except like you're the bottom of the barrel, and you're a beta, and maybe you're just looking for that quick rise to fame. Or maybe you're allowing yourself to be used by Drake, because no sensible person now would, because everybody now has known his game. If you're anything close to intelligent or attentive to the culture or attentive to the hip hop industry, or just if you're attentive in general, you would know to stay away from Drake now, because he's a pariah. He's like an eyesore. He's a virus now. He's a disease. He's a scourge. So nobody now wants to like associate themselves with Drake because of how fucked up this person is. And it shows that no matter how wealthy somebody is, no matter how rich and famous and wealthy somebody is, it's still won't take, if the person is a loser, if the person is a loser, a natural loser. And it's sad that it's beginning to seem like everything in this world is kind of predetermined. Do you understand? Like everybody has their roles to play in this world. Everybody has their parts to play. Because you cannot tell me that this person, with all the accolade, with all the attention that he gets, he's still choosing to be an absolute loser, man. That means that he was born a natural loser. That means there are people in this world right now that it's not their fault, actually. It's just how they are created. You understand? People that are pedophiles, and yes, it's abhorrent. Yes, it's evil. Yes, it's kind of fucked up in every way that you can think of. But it's not their fault. I'm not advocating for pedophilia. I'm not at all. It's an evil thing. Let me just repeat myself. As in, pedophilia is an evil thing. I cannot say that enough. But then again, it's not their fault. Do you understand? Like me now, personally, I cannot see a child now. Like, let's first of all just think of it for a second. Like somebody that is deciding to like sexually molest a child. You have to think like that person's brain is not correct. It's not right. Do you understand? I cannot just decide now. Me now personally, I cannot just decide that I see a child, an innocent child. Like I saw these videos of like, you see videos online of children with their parents and just children being children and holistic and innocent and just heavenly. Do you understand? And then the thing that will now enter your brain is like you have there are things that are so despicable that I choose not to say with my mouth because of how evil they are. So that shows you that isn't as in there's something biologically wrong with you. But then again, it's not your fault. It's like being born blind, or you see, like, let me say, you see videos of people, or you see videos of women online saying that they cannot date a guy that is 5. I'm 5'7". You see women saying they cannot date a guy that is short, or they cannot date a guy that is this or that that is not meeting their standard. Something biological with them that is not meeting their fictitious and what do they even call it? I don't know the right word to use now. They are weird standards. Saying you cannot date a short guy as if it's his fault that he's short. You understand? But then when you say you cannot date a fat woman, they get offended. You can change your weight, but you cannot change your height. You understand? So it's the same thing with being. I'm not equating pedophilia with being blind or being short. I'm just trying to like give you an example. I'm just trying to make you understand what I'm saying. Do you understand? So it's not their fault. It's just how they are born, and there's nothing more to say about it. So that is just the same thing with Drake. Drake was just born in that. He just forgets the wealth that he has, forgets the attention he gets, forgets the fame that he has, forgets how fast of a celebrity influence he has. He's just a loser. What are we going to do about it? He's just a loser. For you to be so petty and so pained and so like, I don't know, just weird that you go after people that are first of all, they also reacted to your own music. Like if your music was good, if your beef with Kendrick Lamar was actually good, they would react the same way. Like you have been beefing, like Drake has been beefing a lot of people, throwing subtle jabs at people here and there. Drake has always been as an antagonizing Rihanna. Let's just use Rihanna as an example now. Any music he comes out with, he will just throw subtle jabs at Rihanna. Just like, I don't know. I don't understand Drake. Drake is just a loser. Do you understand? Drake is just like, as in, do you know one thing I love about truth? Do you know one thing I love about the truth? The truth, it can take, it's as in, you can never run away from the truth. God. You can never run away from the truth. Regardless of how fast you run, regardless of how long it takes, the truth will eventually reveal itself. You can hide it, bro. You can hide it. You can do everything in your power to like bury it, but bro, it's not possible. It's not possible. The truth will eventually reveal itself. Like Drake has been hiding, he has been trying his best to hide his personality for as long as possible, but it feels like him himself, he's getting tired of hiding who he truly is. And so he's just like letting everything go, he's just letting everything out. He's just throwing jabs, throwing shades here and there. Like, as in, it's almost as if he cannot do without it. Imagine, I mean, I don't know much about LeBron James. I don't know much about him, right? In fact, I've always found him to be another weird person. In fact, I've always found him to be another weird person. But people always say that like he's a family man and he's always loyal to his wife. He does not cheat on his wife and stuff like that. And to the extent of all I know, that has been true. Do you understand? But Drake now going after him and saying that he cheats on his wife, and also that fat ass, beta ass, dumb ass DJ Academics also supporting the claim when as in, bro, they are just people that are birds of the same feathers. People that are birds of the same feathers. Do you know, I'm in the park right now, man, and I'm recording this stuff right now, and I'm alone. It would be weird if somebody is watching, looking at me, hiding and looking at me, because I'm basically talking to myself. I'm basically in the park right now. Like, I'm basically just, if you're looking at me from space, all you're going to see is just one person in the entire park, just basically talking to himself. It's just odd. I don't know why that thought came to my brain. So anyways, they are birds of the same feathers, DJ Academics and Drake. They're just the same people in different skin. And I don't understand why that DJ Academics is such a dick rider. Him too, he's somebody that I actually, in the past, initially when he started newly, like when he had like, bro, I knew DJ Academics when I was subscribed to his channel when he had 141,000 subscribers. This is how far back, like, I used to like vibe with this guy. But then when I started realizing that there was something wrong, I just like unsubscribed, and I never fully like ever, as in, my intuition is always right. I don't know how true that statement is, but please understand what I'm saying. Like, most of the times, like, my judgment is always, as in, my judgment always pays off, usually pays off, occasionally pays off. Do you understand? So when I found out that him too, he was another odd, weird ass person, I just like, I just threw him away. And regardless of how long he tried to hide the truth, it eventually comes out. And finally, thankfully, the truth has now come out that Drake is not Drake has been wearing a mask for a very long time, and the mask has been suffocating him, and it feels like he couldn't take it anymore, and then he decided like to take off the mask, and now everybody is seeing his true nature. And it's kind of sad that it's going to destroy his career, because nobody is going to want to fuck with him anymore. Nobody is going to want to fuck with Drake anymore at all. The only people that would want to pay him any hint of attention are going to be people that want to gain something from him. You understand? He talks about how he doesn't have any real friends. Whose fault is that, bro? What will it take for you to be a genuine human being? Do you understand? What will it take for you to be a genuine human being? Nothing. So why are you complaining that you don't have real friends? So the only people now that are going to want to, hear Drake's side of the story are only people that are just looking for the clicks, looking for the views, looking for the engagements and stuff like that. And that's that about it, man. It's over for Drake. I don't know how he's going to come back from this. Like, Drake would have to jump into a burning building and save 10 babies and 50 puppies for anybody to take him seriously anymore, because right now, as in, I cannot even imagine how he's going to like bounce back from this. And it's well deserved, because finally everybody is seeing what I saw back then, and it's like I'm finally getting vindicated or something. I don't know why this has suddenly become about me, but you get my point. Yeah. So that's that about Drake. I spent fucking 30 minutes talking about Drake. So anyways, tomorrow is going to be the inauguration, Trump's inauguration. He's going to be the president. He's going to be is it the 47th president of the United States? And things are going to start changing. Like, they just banned TikTok yesterday. They banned TikTok yesterday, and the consequences of that, as in, it's beginning to show you how dumb Americans are. Like, Americans are dumb. Like, you know how in Nigeria we have our problems. Don't get me wrong, we have our problems, but we are resilient people. Like, when it comes to resilience, I don't think anybody in this world beats us. We are very resilient. We can make the most out of the smallest thing that we have. We can make the most out of it. It's very difficult for you to find a Nigerian that, cannot get themselves out of a tight corner. Very, very, that Nigerian would have to, I don't even know where that kind of person would have to come from. But it's very difficult for you to find a Nigerian, a lazy Nigerian. It's very difficult for you to find a Nigerian that cannot hold his own. So, but, and that has biological traits. It has a biological, what's the word I'm looking for right now? There's a biological aspect to it, right? Because Nigeria, we have always been suffering. Do you understand? In Nigeria, there has always been, since the inception of the country, there has always been suffering and suffering and suffering and suffering. And so people have learned how to live with, learned how to survive, basically. But then when you come from a country like America, where, everything has been given to you, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm not saying it's bad that America is this land of prosperity and all of that jazz, but everything has a disadvantage. I don't know if there is anything in this world that doesn't come with a disadvantage. Is there a disadvantage to truth? Can truth, is there a disadvantage? I feel like truth is the only thing. Truth and love are the only things that don't have disadvantages. Is there a disadvantage to love? No, there is none. Is there a disadvantage to tell the truth? No, there is none. I don't think so. But everything else has a disadvantage. Do you understand? So, America, this land of prosperity, right, comes with, because of how well fed and fattened up the people are. They don't have, there's no, I'm not going to say all of them. I'm sure there are places, in fact, the hard places in America, for example now, Alaska, Arizona, Boston, where else, Texas, all these places where life is kind of difficult. Where's my favorite state in America? Montana, all these places where things where hard work pays off. You understand? These are places where people are resilient, people are hardworking, people are tough. You understand? And life is easier if you're tougher. You understand? For example, now one of the lessons that people don't know that comes with lifting weights is how much lighter everything else feels. When I lift weights, right? And then it's funny how something that is very heavy for somebody else feels so light to me, because of how much, because of how, not to toot my own horn, how strong I am, right? So that's just how it is with life. If you're resilient, if you're tough, there's so much that'll be lighter for you. There's so much that'll be easier for you. But then if you're living in places like California, where things California is where Hollywood is, right? And Hollywood is a place where the most fictitious of people, where the most, I don't even know the kind of word I'm going to use now to describe all these Hollywood kind of people. But that is where all of them churn in to try to make names for themselves, because that is where the movie industry is. That's where the entertainment industry is. And it's the perfect place for Hollywood, because first of all, it doesn't rain that much. It's always sunny there. The atmosphere is kind of serene. It's just cool. California is legitimately beautiful place. Let's not even there's no doubt about that. But then it harbors the weakest people. It harbors the weakest people that you can imagine, the most beta people that you can imagine, the oddest people that you can imagine. Now the fires the kind of devastation that is going on right now in California with all the fires and stuff like that, and all the property that has been destroyed. You start to see videos of people that are losing their minds, people that are losing their shit. You see, there's this video I saw of this guy using milk to put out the fire. They don't have any. They don't have any sense of survivability. All they've known all their lives is the city of Los Angeles. All they've known all their lives is this state of California, where everything is being provided for them. Do you understand? There are people that don't know. There are people that don't know that the meats they buy from the supermarkets, the meats that they buy for the ones that actually like eating meats. Because let's not even go with the meat. There are people that don't even know that. Because there's this video I was watching one time of this girl that was surprised to find out that lemon, like the lemon fruit comes from trees. There are people that are that out of touch with reality. They don't know that the meat that they buy from the supermarkets comes from actual animals. They don't know that eggs come from chicken. That is how far removed from nature they are. And so now that they are being faced with this level of devastation, this apocalyptic devastation, they don't know where to start from. They don't know how to go about it. They don't know what to do. All they can do is just cower and just put themselves in a fetal position and cry. I'm not saying that listen, California, what is going on right now in California is kind of like a sub example of an apocalyptic event. This is going to be like a lesson to learn. This is going to be like a warning, actually, to all these nuclear war hungry, crazy world leaders and people too that don't know what real life politics is all about. They don't know the consequences that it carries. This is going to be like a lesson for them, because imagine, as in California is like a war zone. I said this in my previous episode. Like a nuclear bomb went off. Like the place, they said the places that have been destroyed, the land that has been destroyed in California is bigger than the whole of Manhattan. Just think of that. The amount of space, the amount of land, the amount of the devastation is bigger than the entire Manhattan, which is just wild. God, holy shit. So now it makes me wonder, imagine that's like an apocalyptic event. I mean, it is actually for those people living there right now. And so how are they now going to come out of it? I feel like this is, the amount I read that the amount of money that the insurance companies will need to pay out is reaching $150 billion. Who has $150 billion to freely give out? Who has that kind of money? I don't know, but as in California now is going to be like Detroit. There is no two ways about it. I don't know how, unless I don't do. In fact, see me, I don't know. So let me not even dare to speculate. Let me not even dare speculate, because the level of devastation is still going on. They say that the wind is going to pick up and reach up to 100 miles per hour wind, just carrying fire and just destroying everything in its wake. That's wild, man. And there's no light at the end of this tunnel. man, there's no light at the end of this tunnel, man. So I don't think that there's any hope. Like, just forget about California. It's gone. It's gone. The only thing that can happen is it will start to get rebuilt gradually and gradually, because no, I don't think, yes, Detroit, in the case of Detroit, like the Detroit's case is kind of different. Do you understand? It's different. But California, I feel is a special place for not only like the people that live there, but the whole of America in general, because that's where primarily Hollywood is, and that's just where, I don't know, things happen. Like California, Los Angeles has just been this very popular place, and I don't think that they will just let it die like that. I think rebuilding it will take a very, 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 very long time. I might be wrong too, Sha. But yeah, that's that about that, man. I don't know how it. I don't know what is going to go. I don't know what is going to happen. Moving on. The only funny thing that can come out of it is just how retarded and how helpless the liberals they are, the leftists they are, people that all their lives they've never been in tune or in touch with reality or nature. And so all their lives, they've just been, I don't know, city dwellers. They've just been this hybrid of human and machine. They've been cyborgs. Do you understand? Because, like, imagine not being like, as in, bro, imagine not being in tune with nature. Every day you move from your house, like there's concrete everywhere. Concrete, every single concrete and glass and metal everywhere. So you move from your air-conditioned house where you're being blown with artificial air to your Uber with your $20 coffee that you don't have any idea how it came about, and your iPhone and your iMac and your AirPods and everything. Like, everything is just so artificial, and that's why they themselves are so artificial, and they talk artificially, and they behave artificially, and they think artificially. I feel like this has to be some benevolent reset. Like, maybe some higher power is trying to, maybe it's done too much. You know, now that Trump is like entering into office, it's like some benevolent authorities, like, you don't have to deal with this bullshit. He's not going to escape it, actually, because this is going to be a problem. Because now, how is Trump now? Like, this is going to be a problem. How is Trump going to tackle this situation right now? That is a very good question. How is he going to tackle this situation? Because this is an inescapable situation. You have to, like, go through it and come out at the other side of it. You see, Trump entering office now, everybody is happy. You understand? Everybody is happy that Trump is entering into office. Things are going to change. But nobody is asking about the man himself, because the weight of the entire world is on your shoulder. If Trump fucks up, that would be like, I don't think any other legacy will be as astonished as his. If he enters office and then he fucks up, if he enters office and then he doesn't deliver on the promises. I know there are people that will be doing all their best to try to destabilize and to try to fuck up his plans, but also equally, I hope that he has surrounded himself with people that have his best interest at heart, and also people that have the best interest of the rest of America at heart. People like Vivek Ramaswamy, people like RFK Jr., people like Tulsi Gabbard, Elon Musk, JD Vance. You know, people that it seems they have like good heads on their shoulders. So hopefully the inauguration tomorrow is going to be like America is going to put themselves back on the right track to once again being like the powerhouse of the entire planet. And But then again, it's going to take a lot. It's going to take so much energy to, reshape the psyche and reshape the mentality of Americans, of most Americans, especially the leftists. Thankfully, most of the leftists and liberal rhetoric is kind of being flushed out. People are kind of realizing that it doesn't, there is no benefits to it, because okay, now let me give you one example. They just banned TikTok, right? But they've been saying it for a very long time that they're going to ban TikTok. They just finally banned it yesterday, and obviously it's affecting a lot of people. There are actual talented people on TikTok. I've never been on TikTok. I've never really liked it because of, I've never liked TikTok because of how much of a, I don't know if it's because I'm just being an old head, or if I'm just being, how older people always like disparage and look down on what the youngins are doing. I don't know if that's what it is for me, but TikTok has always just been this cesspool of hedonism and just stupidity. I mean, it's a tool invented by the Chinese Communist Party to try to destabilize not only America but any country that they can affect. That's what TikTok is. TikTok is a weapon, and it's a weapon that worked flawlessly well. Because tell me why Americans that have lost their TikTok accounts. Tell me why Americans that have lost their TikTok accounts. Tell me why Americans that are now being affected by the ban are flooding to the Chinese own version of TikTok. I don't even know if it's the Chinese own version, but no, not TikTok, the Chinese own version of Instagram. Tell me why they are flooding to this new app called, it's not even called Red. They just gave it the name Red Book, because obviously they cannot pronounce the actual name of the app. The reason why I believe one of the legitimate reasons, amongst others, that quote unquote we are not allowed to talk about, the reason why the American government decided that they're going to ban TikTok is because of how much damage it's doing to the American society, and because they know that it's a weapon used by the Chinese government to destabilize the country. That was why they banned it. Do you understand? They know that the Chinese government, they use TikTok to steal information. They use TikTok to steal data from the American people, to steal ideas, to steal IPs. That is the reason why they banned TikTok, to steal data, because TikTok is this device used to steal data, basically. But then the idiots, the American idiots that don't have sense, they don't understand that this is, see, don't get me wrong, there are actual creative people on TikTok. Like there's this girl, I don't know if anybody knows about this girl, Zena Bear. I don't know if that's what I need. The girl that dances, right? Like she dances like she's a cartoon character, and she's very flexible. And so she's somewhere that when I come across her content, not on TikTok, but probably on YouTube, or let me see, on Twitter or something like that. Like I always enjoy her content because she's actually talented. There are actual talented people on TikTok, but for the most part, most of the rest of the people on TikTok are just, they're just like, I always use the oak tree and the pine cones as examples. They're just seeds that don't germinate. You know how in the Bible talks about how the farmer that sows seeds, he throws some on like the hard soil, and they don't germinate because like the seeds don't get into the soil. He throws some on thorns of root, or on thorns, and then the thorns choke out the seeds. He throws some in the sand, and then the sand like swallows them up. And then he throws some on fertile ground, and then they germinate. Understand? Not everybody is going to be a seed that gets thrown into fertile ground and then ends up germinating. That's just not how life is. You understand? I said earlier that it's beginning to seem to me like our reality is one that is predestined. Like there are people that are predestined to fail. There are people that are predestined, like me now. Me, for example, I've always felt like I am Loki. Like I've always felt like I'm this character that has always been misunderstood, and my part on earth is to, be the villain, so that other people can be heroes. I don't know, man. I don't know why that sounds weird saying out loud for the first time, but that's just how it is. So, but then again, I'm always looking for my glorious purpose. You understand? So I've always if anybody like the character that I am drawn to the most ever is Loki. Like I understand. I am Loki. That's just it. So, anyways, what was I talking about? I was talking about how the fucking Americans don't understand what they are doing. Like they're now flooding towards this new, not even new. They're now flooding towards this Chinese app that. It's like they don't understand that the US government is, yes, the US government is flawed. It's bad. We get that. You understand? But which government isn't? The Americans, they have freedom. As in, if for anything at all, they have freedom. They have the freedom to criticize their own governments, which is something that is absolutely alien to the people that live in China. To the Chinese people, you cannot criticize the government. You cannot criticize Xi Jinping. They want to disappear, regardless of how much money you have. You cannot. They are authoritarian. They are tyrannical. So that is the whole point of China. That is the reason why America has always been wary of China. That is not even only America, like the Western world, people that quote unquote practice democracy. They've always been wary of China because of how authoritarian China is, because of the lack of freedom to be human. The Chinese always spout. Yes, and they don't like freedom. They want to be in control of everything. But the idiots in America don't understand that. So you see videos of people saying that they're going to defect to China. They don't care if the Chinese people take their data or steals their data or whatever. They don't care if the war breaks out that they're going to defect to China. Like, you just hear them saying nonsense. Imagine if a Chinese person says that. Imagine if a Chinese person says that he's going to defect to America. Like, you will not hear, that person will disappear. That is the point. You can say, as an American, the whole point of it all is that you can say that. You can be that ridiculous, you can be that senseless, you can be that idiotic, and there will be no consequence, there will be no immediate consequence to that. But you cannot do that in China. Okay, now the people in America, the Americans know that's because their TikTok accounts have been banned. They're now flooding towards this new Red Book app. The Chinese people there, they don't want to hear about the policy on that app. Is that they don't want to hear about your LGBTQIA nonsense. They don't want to hear about your religion. They don't want to hear about your politics. They don't want to hear you criticize their government. The only thing that they want you to do is just concentrate on buying your expensive and designer handbags and your cars and your electric cars and your fucking petting your dogs and just going to your expensive restaurant. That is the only thing they want you to do. And also, do you people not, people that are criticizing the American government and saying that the Chinese people are living way better than the Americans, like, do you not understand that the whole idea of China is like they are the best of the best when it comes to propaganda? Like, Americans don't have sense. I was going to ask if they have sense. They don't have sense. They don't have sense. Because the app, the Red Book app or Red Notes app, it's a curated app. It's an app where they only showcase the high class society of Chinese citizens. They don't show you the bad sides. There are poor people everywhere. There are people. You see, the average salary of a Chinese citizen in China is $700 a year, not a month. But then their rent is like $500 a month. Like, there are firefighters there was one documentary I was watching one time of firefighters in China. Like, they earn $500 a month. Firefighters earning $500 a month. The documentary was all about it was a hidden camera. It was a hidden cam documentary. Like, they were just kind of exposing the secrets of how incompetent China is. I saw a video a few days ago of how horrible Chinese electric vehicles are. Like, they are so bad that in the clips I watched, You see the vehicles taking control of themselves and then just speeding off and running over people and just destroying lives. Like, I was just thinking, like, why can't you just do things right? Like, Chinese people, the Chinese government is like American journalism. They just want to be the first. They don't care about being right. They want to be the first. Like, just calm down and do something well. You don't have to you don't have to always be the country known for doing the cheap version of something. Chinese electric vehicles are horrible. Like, they are horrible. They are not good at all. They don't last. They are not, they are not reliable. They are bad. So if you, like, there's one point I've been thinking about. The reason why I feel like my time have not yet come is because there are lessons that I'm still being taught that I feel so many other people that, have quote unquote made it, they didn't have the opportunity to learn those lessons, right? Like, for example, now there are things that I know. There are things that I know. There are things that I know that is just not sensible to do, like buying a Chinese electric vehicle. You worked hard for your money. You worked very hard for your money. And then you're telling me that you're going to use your money to buy a Chinese electric vehicle. First of all, electric vehicles are bad. Let's just begin there. Tesla they are bad. They are impractical. Even in Nigeria, they make electric vehicles, and I ask myself, like, we don't have uninterrupted power supply in Nigeria. So we don't have good roads. We don't have electricity in Nigeria. Who are these electric vehicles for? What is the point of making electric vehicles in Nigeria? That is my question. What is the point of making electric vehicles? Electric vehicles are bad. Then now, imagine now driving a Chinese electric vehicle. That is you're just deciding to commit suicide. You're deciding to deliberately commit suicide. So, I don't understand how American citizens are so, I don't understand how American citizens don't know about all of this. It's like they're so sheltered. Americans are so sheltered. They're so blind to the rest of what's happened, to everything else that is going on in the world, that, like, they're so sheltered, basically, that they're not able to understand that, oh, this is what is going on. You see interviews where they ask Americans to mention any other country outside America, and they cannot, because of how sheltered they are. So it's kind of surprising. And the sad part is, like, to go back to the point I was trying to make before, the sad part is that there are actual creative people on TikTok, right? There are people that have, that's their livelihood, and now they're going to lose that livelihood. But then again, to use that Zainab as an example, right? She is somebody that, she started her fame started from, like, TikTok because of her dances and all of that stuff. But then she diverted, and then she graduated to, like, making YouTube shorts and making YouTube videos and Instagram and stuff like that. You're not solely going to remain on TikTok. If you're somebody that you think TikTok is like the you think TikTok is the be all of apps, or the best app that will ever exist, and you think, like, that's the only place that you should be, then that's your own cup of tea. Because now look at what has happened. If you're an actual creative person, and I believe that people who are actually creative have to have sense also, and they're not going to, like, TikTok is not going to be their only source of income. So I see all these videos of people crying that they're going to lose their source of revenue, their source of income, they're going to lose their fans. That's why I always say, don't be too attached to anything. Like, it can be taken away without any notice, without any warning. It can be taken away without any warning, and there'll be nothing you can do about it. So don't be too attached to anything. So there's this video I saw of this trans, I don't even know, is a man that is pretending to be a woman, is a trans woman. Okay, a trans woman. I always, I have to, really, really think of it in my head to understand these idiots. The woman who is trying to be a man is called the biological woman who is trying to be a man is called a trans man. The biological man who is trying to be a woman is called a trans woman. All right. So this trans woman was just shedding crocodile tears online, crying about how is it he crying about how his source of income. Like, another point again I want to make is like, bro, these people are God. If you're weak, if you're a weakling, I don't know, man. Why are you choosing to be a weakling? Like, you're one shot at life. You're one shot at existence. You're one shot at experiencing what it feels like to live in the best time ever in the history of the world. You're choosing to be a weakling. You're choosing to be less than human. You're choosing to be, as in, just a loser. Why? Like, people who feel like they cannot do anything physical, like they cannot do any physical jobs, they're not strong enough. Like, the only thing that they can do is like be online personalities. It's like, what's happened is, okay, imagine now that what is going on in California now was all over the world. How are you going to survive? Like, this is a massive lesson. Like, this whole turn of events is interesting. I feel like the rest of this year is going to be a very interesting year because so much has happened in just the month. Is not even like, we're still in the first month of the year, and it's not even tomorrow is going to be the 20th. We have like 11 more days to go, or 12 more days to go, sorry, to the end of the month. And so much has happened already, which is telling me that the rest of the year is going to be very, 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 very interesting. So now imagine that if it was a nuclear bomb that had dropped and every electrical device just got shut off. Let's say the power grid in America was attacked and all the electrical devices got turned off. Like, electric cars cannot work again, phones, gadgets, electricity basically just dies off. So how are these people now going to survive? How are they going to survive? That is a very good question, because now we're kind of like seeing semblance of the reality of it. Now that this quote unquote essential part of their life is being taken away from them. Now they don't know. They don't like. Did anybody ever think that Vine was going to last? Vine was going to die. Do you remember Vine? From 2013, 2014, Vine was taken away. Do you understand? And then TikTok came and replaced it. But nobody was thinking that TikTok was eventually going to be taken away. Like, I don't understand. Like, I don't get that mentality. I don't get it. Did you think it was going to last forever? Nothing lasts forever. Nothing lasts forever. So all these people now that were not, that didn't diversify, that didn't kind of like, try to try to like, separate their eggs from being in one basket. What did you think was going to happen? Especially all these weak people, all these people that don't, they don't have the knowledge to, join the actual working, as in the job market in America, like to actually do work, like physical work. Man, it's sad. It's sad. This should be a lesson that being an online personality should not be your only, as in, career. It shouldn't be where your primary source of income comes from. You should have something, as in fact, being an online personality should be your secondary, regardless of how influential or how popular you are. It should be something that you do it should be your side hustle. Do you understand? You should at least know how to like survive, you should have a skill. You should have sets of skills, actually. Know how to survive in the world, because these people, they don't know the first thing when it comes to survival. I just watch the videos and I'm like, and to an extent, I'm even feeling sorry for them because, honestly speaking, like, they don't know what to do. They really don't know what to do. Like, what are they going to do now? God, what are they now going to do? When you've been this person, like this online person, like your whole existence has been online. Somebody said that, one of them said that he posts on TikTok, is it 5 times a day for the last, he has been posting on TikTok 5 times a day for the past 4 years. Hey, who has that time? Who has that time actually? And how is that, like, you cannot, as in, for you to have that much quantity, then logically there cannot be much quality to it. That is just the truth. There just cannot be that much quality to that much quantity. You understand? So to all the Americans that are, that this is affecting, that this is not your only problem. In fact, this is a minuscule problem in the grand scheme of things, because there are people in California right now that are crying that their whole life has been turned upside down. They've lost their homes, they've lost their property, they don't know where else to turn. Some people don't even have family members to turn to. They don't, like, everything, like those ones, they are facing actual problems. Those are actual problems that people are dealing with. And you, that you're crying that your TikTok is being taken away from, like, that is just to show you how, as in, this life no balance. That's just to show you how unbalanced this life can be. There are people that are crying that their entire livelihood has been, like, destroyed, while there are other people that are crying that they're taking away their TikTok. It's sad, man. It's fucked up. So sorry, I don't know I don't know how to end this. So anyways, that one is that about that. The final thing I want to talk about today is in Nigeria. You know how Nigeria is so daft. The system of things in Nigeria is so, as in, it's just bad. And we know how EFCC, in Nigeria we have EFCC, and they always, like, harass people. They always storm people, invade people's privacy. If they see any hint of progress in your life, if they see any hint of prosperity in your life, they'll just automatically term you to be a Yahoo boy. I don't know why that is there. I don't know how that managed to be their whole MO. They just don't want to allow people to rest. We have actual criminals in government everywhere, stealing money every day, but EFCC, they will not go after them. It's the Nigerian youths that they will go after. And so we already know of the story of the guy, the EFCC official that was shot dead. He was blown. His head was, I don't even know if it was his head. It was blown off. They saw luxurious cars in somebody's house, and then they automatically termed the person to be a Yahoo boy, and without any information, without any notice, without any nothing, no warning, they just stormed the person's house. And thankfully, the person thought that they were armed robbers. I mean, if you're a government official, there are certain ways to do things. You just see, they've always had this idea in their head that they are the authority of authorities. You understand? They are, like, because they are EFCC officials, like, nobody can touch them. Because they're EFCC officials, they are somehow bulletproof. Me, I've always been an advocate for gun ownership. I didn't even know that you can legally own a gun in Nigeria. I didn't know that. Because it turns out now that the person that killed this EFCC official, as in, he bought the gun legally. You can legally own a gun in Nigeria, and nobody knows that. To an extent, I am thankful that not a lot of people know that you can legally own a gun in Nigeria. Thank God that not many people know that, but I actually want more people to know that now, that you can go and buy a gun legally in Nigeria and own it and use it to protect yourself. Like this man did, this businessman from Anambra State that killed this this EFCC official and injured like 2 others. I'm just glad that happened, because now, first of all, there are two things that will happen. There are 2 possibilities that can come out from this story. One, EFCC, which this one is actually the most probable that will happen. They are going to be more aggressive. They are going to be more hostile. In fact, they are going to start carrying guns. EFCC now started. They used to carry guns before, but this time around they are going to start actually using the guns when they are invading people's houses, when they are like invading people's private property. You understand? They are going to now start using the guns. This is the one that, because of how Nigeria is, this is one I think is most probably going to happen. Or, everything, they are going to go back to the drawing board and try to, do things properly this time around. Instead of you to be storming people's house, at least if you feel like somebody is a criminal or a kidnapper or a corrupt government official or a Yahoo boy, do your due diligence by carrying out investigations before arresting the person. I don't even think EFCC itself are supposed to be arresting people. Their job initially is supposed to be to carry out investigations of people that are fraudulent in Nigeria. And then when they find you to be a fraudulent person, they now carry your matter and now take it to the police, and then the police will now arrest you. Isn't that what this is what the EFCC is supposed to do? They are not to the point now where people, if they see people wearing red jackets, because EFCC, they have their iconic red jackets. If they see anybody wearing, a group of people wearing red jackets, you see people start panicking and running, even if they are even if their conscience is clear, even if they are innocent. Because in Nigeria, there's this saying, a clear conscience fears no accusation. But in Nigeria, the case is different though. Clear conscience still they fear accusation, because we have heard countless stories of people that have been arrested by the police and then just thrown in jail for no reason and left there to die and rot. And if they are unable to like bail themselves out, that is it for them. We've heard stories of people that like people that have been on death row in Nigerian prison for, I don't know, harmless. We're not even going to go, just misdemeanors. It happens all the time in Nigeria. So everybody's usually on their toes. Everybody's usually on alert if they see impending doom. So anyways, hopefully the EFCC officials will go back to the drawing board and revise themselves and reassess themselves and try to do things properly this time around, and try to be sensible, at least have sense. Like, okay, now the guy that died, they said the guy that was killed, they said that his wedding, his wedding was like this later this month. He was going to have his wedding later this month. Now, look at what he has done to himself. Look at the kind of grief that he has caused for his family. All because of what? You don't want to do the right thing. If you don't do the right thing, what do you think will happen? Like, do you think it is right to jump fence? Like, okay, now, you're an EFCC official. Granted, you feel like you're being backed by the government. You understand? Granted, you feel like you're being, supported, like nothing can happen to you. But do you think you're bulletproof? Like, not even the whole bulletproof part. Do you think it is right to, like, invade somebody's, house and try to arrest them? Like, you see videos online of people complaining that EFCC attacked them, destroyed their property, search, and just being ridiculously idiotic. I don't understand. More and more every day, I feel like we are really actually living in a solipsistic reality, because the way I think, or my idea of how the world is supposed to be is entirely different from other people's reality. Because how does that even make sense to you? Just because you feel like you're in charge, just because you've been given a very tiny iota of power, you feel like you can use it to oppress and you can use it to subdue, and you can use it to just like destabilize and destroy and cheat and steal and like, I don't get it, man. I don't get it. So now, if you're somebody that believes in God now, let's assume that that's EFCC official believes in God. Now you're in heaven. Now what are you going to tell God? You're now in judgment, like you're now face to face with God. What are you now going to tell God? God now ask you, like, what happened? And which mouth will you use to explain which mouth will you use to explain why you died? Nigeria. Nigeria is tired, man. Well, anyways, that is it for today, man. I don't think there is anything else that I have that to cover that I have not covered. We're just waiting for the inauguration tomorrow. We're just waiting for Donald Trump to be inaugurated as the president tomorrow, and the whole world will be watching to see how that goes. And now the ball will now be in his court, because there's so much that he will have to like undo. There's so much that he will have to repair. There's so much that he will have to get right. He has to. There are literal wars that this nigga has to stop. Man, you see, I do not wish to be Donald Trump, man. Another thing again is that he's an old man. But this guy, Donald Trump, I don't think that in this our modern, like, I don't think there has been anybody as influential and I don't think there's ever been anybody like Donald Trump. He's literally, regardless of what you think of him, he's one of a kind. He's one of a kind. So I wish him luck. I wish him the best. I hope he's not assassinated tomorrow. Fingers crossed. Yeah, that's that about that, man. If you listened to these points, if you find my stuff, I'm talking to myself. Nobody's going to listen to this, man. Nobody's going to give a fuck about this. I'm just talking to myself. But if somehow you found this interesting and you listened to these points, please give me a thumbs up and leave a comment below, and subscribe if you want to see more, and share it with anybody you feel might be interested in listening to this or interested in this kind of like rant. And yeah, that's that about that, man. Thank you for chilling with me. Thank you for giving me your listening ears. Also follow me on Twitter at GeneralPrime1. I'm still not calling it X. I mean, we know that already. And yeah, I'll talk to you guys later. All right, bye everybody.